Zohran Mamdani wants social workers to handle some of the most dangerous calls that come into 911. Calls that police normally handle.
Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down!
You have to see the 6 seconds that could have changed or ended a police officer's life. Mayor Mamdani has plenty of sympathy for the suspect in this case, but he wants to sideline police officers like the one who was nearly attacked.
Chavez needs mental health treatment, not criminal prosecution by a district attorney.
Coming up, you're going to find out why the mayor can't fulfill his promises fast enough for the left.
We voted for you, Zohran. We advocated for you, Zohran.
And his supporters are now screaming at his doorstep.
Get up in there and lie to us. You lied, Zohran. Shame, Zohran.
Shame!
Make sure you hit subscribe as I sit down in the studio with Bob Baxa for this 10 minutes of truth. Bob, you might not have expected it, but for Zohran Mamdani, he really got a short honeymoon period, and now he's taking flack like from both sides. And one of the things he's doing is making it clear that he still is not a big fan of police officers.
No, he seems to think that police officers are not being used correctly, or they're being, maybe the more accurate way to say it is that he thinks there are lots of calls where police currently, would handle the situation, but that these situations should not be handled by police. And there's a very, I wouldn't call it famous, there's a notorious situation that happened on January 26th. We just got the officer's body cam footage yesterday, and Zohran's taken a lot of heat from both sides. So a man in Queens was having a mental health episode. He was scaring his family. He's 22. He has a history of mental health problems. He's scaring his family. He's throwing glasses against the wall. So the family says they called 911 and asked for an ambulance to take him, but police showed up to the house.
Sure. And police should show up to the house in a violent situation like this. I mean, there's no question about it. Well, okay, what we want to start with showing you the video. And there's a lot of things that I want you to look at as we show this video. And one of the things, I'm going to point it out, is how quickly this escalates to a deadly violence situation for the police.
Correct.
So here they are approaching the door.
Okay.
Knock on the door, 2 officers. He's afraid to stand by the door.
How you doing? Paul? Come in. Oh my gosh. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Papa, no! Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Move! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
Pause it. There's the shooting.
Okay. All right. So there's so many things to take in here. Probably the most important thing is the cops, the second a guy has a knife, the cops can shoot you. That's it. They can.
Yep.
But these cops retreat. They retreat backwards into that foyer and close the door. So they've literally retreated into a separate little room to get away from this guy. He comes through the door at them with a knife, and at that point they shoot him.
Okay, I counted to 6. You heard me doing it as they walked in the door. That's because it was 6 seconds after they walked through that door that he had the knife in the hand. He had a huge knife in his hand, and he was coming after them. So that's 6 seconds that they have to react, okay? Later in the show, later in this episode, we're going to tell you what Zohran Mamdani would have happen in this situation. Basically, a social worker be the first one to go walking through that door. What in the hell would a social worker do? Look at that police officer right there. I paused it specifically for that moment, because look at the fear in that officer's face. He's just had to shoot someone, something no officer ever wants to do. And let's
Correct.
keep playing this video, Bob, because I want you to see what happens here. All the time we hear all these anti-police people saying, oh, why can't you just shoot him in the arm? Why can't you just shoot him so that he doesn't die? That's exactly what happens.
Right.
Put the knife down! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Shots fired! Shots fired!
So right there, you
And he's
can
not
see
dead, by the way.
He's not dead.
Injured. He's not dead.
Zohran Mamdani had went and visited him in the hospital. Okay,
Correct.
So he's taking a lot of heat for going to visit this guy in the hospital after he came at two of these police officers with a knife. All right.
Well, in
Now,
his mind, the victim is always the hero, and the heroes, which are the cops, are always the bad guy. Cops equal bad guy in any situation.
seems like that's what Zohran thinks. Let
Yeah.
us very quickly here show you another piece of video. This is a press conference that he held after going to make that hospital visit.
So over the weekend, as you said, I spoke with the Chakraborty family and I visited Chavez in the hospital. There is no family should have to endure this kind of pain. Chavez has lived with schizophrenia for many years, and this situation underscores just how urgently we need a different and more effective mental health response system that will be safer for New Yorkers who struggle with mental health concerns, for their families, and for police officers.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right
So-
there
yeah,
because
let me
remember that 6 seconds. Remember that 6 seconds. Okay, in that 6 seconds, what is a mental health worker going to do?
Well, here's the thing. His plan is essentially that if a call comes in and it's not a violent call, then they would send a social worker. Well, this call came in as a nonviolent call. There was no weapon mentioned. And so this is exactly the kind of
He was
call.
throwing dishes.
He was throwing dishes. This would have been a call that got a mental health expert. Now, think about that video we just showed. He picks up the knife. At that point, according to Zohran, the mental health expert says, oh, whoa, wait, this is violent? Oh, hang on. Listen, hang on right there with your knife. We need to call the police. This is now a violent situation. So chill. It's going to take the cops
don't
about 10
start stabbing
No,
until
no
someone with a
stabbing.
gun gets here. No stabbing.
Put the stabbing,
stabbing
on
yet.
hold. Right.
Yep.
Just chill with the knife. You can keep it because we're social workers. We're
Well,
not
hold
here
on
to
to
take.
it. Just hold on to your knife.
Hold on to your knife. The cops will actually be here in 7 minutes. So when they get here, then you can go back to the stabbing. I mean, this is what they're saying. It's so ridiculous.
Let's go back to Zohran Mamdani.
Chavez needs mental health treatment, not criminal prosecution by a district attorney. And that is why I proposed creating a Department of Community Safety to build a mental health system rooted in prevention, in sustained care, and real crisis response.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
And
This
that might
guy
be true.
came with a giant knife after a police officer immediately. Okay,
Right.
This does need some criminal prosecution. And if it's deemed that he has a mental health issue, then the criminal justice system has functionality to deal with that very situation. So
Maybe
let
this
the
guy is
process go
crazy.
forward.
I would say virtually every mental health episode has the potential to, in the space of 6 seconds, go from nonviolent to violent. And then when there's no cops there, what does this most likely female, middle-aged white woman who's working as a social worker, what is she going to do when Chavez comes at her with a giant knife? What is she going to do?
Well, let's listen to what on the campaign trail. This is what Zohran Mamdani was saying about his plan to send less police to domestic violence situations and more social workers. This is what he ran on, and this is what he apparently intends to do.
So our vision for a Department of Community Safety, the DCS, is that we would have teams of dedicated mental health outreach workers that we deploy to the 100 stations with the highest levels of mental health crises to respond to those incidents and get those New Yorkers out of the subway system and to the services that they actually need. We have put
Okay,
It's
pause
so
that. He's talking
idiotic.
about this was happening back when there was a lot of violence happening on the subway system. You
Right.
remember that 6-8 months ago when he was running. But this obviously happened in a house. But again, back to what the hell do you think a social worker is going to do in that very situation?
Well, this to me is a perfect example of how the left lives in the world as we would like it to be and has absolutely no familiarity with the real world.
And he's talking about sending a social worker into one of the most dangerous situations a police officer can get into. I'm going to read you a
Domestic
little bit of
violence.
stats.
Yes,
from
this is another
Steve's
good one.
sister Carrie sent
Okay.
some stats, and these come from a combination of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and domesticshelters.org. Says on average, more than 4,000 police officers are assaulted each year while responding to domestic violence calls, with about a 35.2% injury rate. So
Right.
domestic violence says domestic violence situations are among the most dangerous for law enforcement, often leading to serious harm or fatalities.
Right.
So
And
you're going to
let's-
put a social worker there.
Let's think about what is a domestic violence situation. 99%, whatever the exact percentage is, it's almost always a man beating the crap out of his wife, and they're making so much noise that the wife isn't the one who's calling. The neighbors call and say, John next door is once again beating the shit out of his wife. The cops show up and they take John away. Now, think about what type of person becomes a social worker. Overwhelmingly female, overwhelmingly liberal white women. I'm sure there's plenty of black women, but they're overwhelmingly female. You're going to send a female to a situation where a guy is beating the crap out of his wife. By definition, this guy doesn't like women. And you're going to get another woman to tell him to stop beating up his wife. And what happens when he says F you to the social worker? Then what?
Okay, but here's something that we talked about at the beginning when we were talking about this episode is the problem that Mamdani has cornered himself into because he can't back off of any of these policies that he has proposed.
Right, he's promised things.
All the free stuff, all the no police officers, all the things that he's promised, they're already coming after him because, look, liberals don't understand that when somebody makes a promise on the campaign trail, it's not necessarily going to happen. I mean,
Right.
when Donald Trump said, I'm lowering prices on day one, as soon as I get into office, liberals are still saying, well, why didn't he lower them on day one? Whereas
Right.
conservatives didn't look at that like he absolutely, all of a sudden, he's going to wake up one day and go, I'm president now. Prices have to be lowered. Everyone lower your prices. That we
Right.
knew wasn't going to happen. But liberals are not logical like that, Bob. They
Right.
actually think that if he says, oh, I'm going to make subways free, oh, I'm going to lower your rent, that it should have happened already. And here's what happens when it doesn't happen, Bob.
Zohran, we voted for you, Zohran. We advocated for you. Zohran, we advocated for you. You ain't getting out of getting that lie to us. You lied, Zohran. Shame, Zohran.
Shame!
I love
So
that.
they're turning
That's
on him already.
That's Gracie Mansion, which
Yeah.
is where the New York City mayor lives. But yes, these are leftists. These are leftists that are yelling. They're pissed because he hasn't kept his promises.
Right.
One of his main promise, the buses would be free. Well, not only, and the left, of course, believe that. Any person with a brain would say, wait a minute, the bus drivers have a salary. The bus uses gas. The bus uses oil. The bus has, there's tires. Like, how are you going to make free buses? That doesn't work. And of
See,
course,
some math, Bob, went into deciding what the bus fare would be. It wasn't just a
Right.
random number. They just didn't go, you know what? How about $2 a ride? Let's just do $2 a ride. No, they actually calculated.
Right. And these people thought that the buses would be free. And it's been announced in New York. Not only are the buses not free, bus fares have gone up because they need more money because he promised so much free stuff. So it's the opposite of what he promised. And the left is pissed. They're not getting their free stuff and they're pissed.
You don't want to miss an episode of Barrett and Baxa, 10 minutes of truth or media schmedia. And don't forget our bonus episodes. Like, comment, share, follow, and subscribe now.